But Facebook has become a focus of an increasingly heated debate over whether it was keeping its end of the bargain and giving users an easy, straightforward, and consistent way to set their limits. It has regularly revised its privacy settings, made them harder to find, and massaged the way it describes the meaning of privacy. Leaving Facebook for good is a complex chore. These are legitimate concerns. After public outcry, Facebook is responding to them by reviewing and revising some of its privacy policies. Last month, the company caused an uproar among privacy advocates and attracted the scrutiny of lawmakers when it redefined many items on users' priorities and profiles, including friends, current city and job, their school, listed interests, and websites they liked as public information, broadly visible on topical pages and accessible by applications running on Facebook. It did not matter how private users wanted to keep the information. Facebook also started a program allowing websites to access the public information of users who clicked Facebook-like buttons, and another to share users' public information with corporate partners such as Yelp and Pandora to allow them to personalize their services to users' tastes. Users can opt out, but the process is far from straightforward. On Monday, Facebook's chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg, announced in an op-ed article in the Washington Post that over the next several months, the company would add privacy controls that are much simpler in use and give you an easy way to turn off all third-party services. The company added that it would turn the information considered public by default over to the government. That would be information outside public impact, and it would be decided and become a powerful force in the way people communicate online. Last year, following another consumer backlash over charges or changes to its terms of service, Facebook introduced a set of principles that included this: people should have freedom to decide with whom they will share their information and to set privacy controls to protect these choices. Facebook would do well to abide by this rule. Indeed, Facebook should commit to give users full control over the use and disclosure of their data. That means asking for permission every time it wants to use the information for a new purpose. It also means providing users in a simple, intuitive way with the information they need to decide who can see their data and how those details can be used. Facebook's existence is predicated on people wanting to share information about their lives. It should trust that users who want to share everything will and not force the hand of those who don't want to. Workers won an important victory at the Supreme Court on Monday when the justices ruled unanimously that a group of African American applicants to the Chicago Fire Department did not wait too long to challenge a hiring test they claimed was discriminatory. If interpreted properly by the lower courts, the ruling could give a chance at relief to minority groups, women, the elderly, the disabled, and others claiming to be victims of a discriminatory employment practice after the practice went into effect. The court ruled that the black firefighters could sue the city of Chicago over the scoring system on a test that they claimed had overwhelmingly favored white applicants. The issue was not the test itself, which a lower court had already ruled discriminatory against blacks, but the time lapse in bringing the suit. Under Title VII of the Civil Rights Law, plaintiffs are supposed to be no later than 300 days after an unfair practice procedure occurs. The question here is whether the practice occurred only when the scoring system began or every time the test was given. Determining when a time limit begins became a serious issue after the Supreme Court ruled in 2007 against Lilly Ledbetter, who had been paid less than men for years by her employer, Goodyear Tire and Rubber, saying she should have filed her complaint shortly after her pay was set, even if she did not know then about the disparity. Fortunately, Congress overturned that decision last year. Writing for the full court, Justice Antonin Scalia insisted that there was a difference between the two uses and cases. Ms. Ledbetter's deadline, he wrote, started with the first act of discrimination against her because she was trying to prove that Goodyear's pay system caused a disparate treatment of men and women, a stricter standard that can result in more damages but requires proof of intentional discrimination. The aspiring firefighters, on the other hand, were trying to show that the test had only a disparate impact, which goes not to require intentional discrimination, and Mr. Scalia wrote, lacks the strict deadline requirements. Justice Scalia had written in a racial discrimination case last year that he had serious misgivings about the disparate impact laws, and as much as we disagreed with the Ledbetter decision, it was encouraging to see that he did not give in to the doubts on Monday. It might be cynical to suggest that one reason for the court's unanimity was the firm response by Congress to the Ledbetter decision. Whether through newfound judicial wisdom or political calculation, the door has now been opened a bit further to victims of discrimination.
That's good.